All right, everybody, welcome back to Brown and Browner Post Masters Edition. Mid-April, all the fun's beginning. We got playoff hockey, playoff basketball. Everything's kicking into high gear these days.
Yeah, and I have to say, Rory was masterful day 1 and day 2. He was miserable day 3 and part of day 4, but he rebounded and he showed the kind of grit that champions are made of. In the hardest moment, the biggest names in golf, with the exception of Scheffler, pretty much faltered, and he was able to steady the course. Give him all the credit in the world. He's the 4th golfer to repeat, and the names that you see up there are golf legends. So kudos to you. I think he's finally getting it. I think getting that monkey off his back, so to speak, really allows him to be much freer in how he plays, especially in the majors and in that particular tournament.
Yeah, in terms of skill and just, pure abilities, seed balls and things he's up there with the Tigers of the world and stuff like that. And even during that tail end of what we would call, I hate to call it Tigers' end of his career, but, it's kind of where we are now. But Rory was picking up steam. At one point, he had won a few majors and went on a good run and everything else. Went dead for a few whiles, and then all of a sudden clicked on the Masters finally last year. And now all of a sudden you're seeing him contend literally weekly on, with the best of the best. And the best of the best is Scotty Scheffler. If you have a better round one, we're talking about Scotty again. I mean, that's how scary it was with that.
Better round 1 or round 2. Round 2 wasn't bad, but round 1, what was he, like 2 over or something like that?
I don't know if the terminology still exists here, but at least my dad and I joke around. It's like Scotty Sundays. You can't stop the man. That man on Sundays, he closes tournaments. Whether he's back, forward, wherever he's a closer.
Hey, picture this. Scotty missed a putt by this.
Yeah.
It literally would burn the edge. Yeah. If he makes that putt, Rory drives it into the trees on 18. Now he has to par to win. Not that he has to bogey to win. What happens then?
Now I hate to say it, but on the back 5 or 6 holes, that's where the pressure got let off on Rory, unfortunately, because Rose fell apart. Scheffler came on strong, but just, he didn't have that first day. If he had the first day, then he would have been in the thick of it, maybe tied up going into 13 and 14, basically, with Rory putting enough pressure on him. And then everybody else just kind of fell. Burns fell a little bit.
Burns fell a lot of bit. He was at 10 under, and what did he finish? 7 under, 8 under?
Yeah, I felt really bad for Min Woo. Holy crap.
So it was Ho-Tan Lee, wasn't it?
Sorry, Ho-Tan Lee.
Yeah. What hole did he get a 10 on?
13, because he bogeyed 12 to par 3, and then on 13 he went 10.
Because he was at 10 under, I think, at some point early in the round, and he was potentially a threat. Well, who's got to feel the worst, quite frankly, is Young.
Yeah, Cam Young.
Cameron was right there. Yeah. He made a hell of a charge on Saturday. He's playing in the final group. He had played with Rory 2 of the 3 days, and he shot subpar golf. And he had Rory. And he choked it up, and his putter went super cold.
Well, some of that comes to experience. Cam Young, newer to the tour, but at the same time, he hasn't been in that pressure light just yet, like some of these other guys. And that's where it comes with experience. So maybe he'll get better, hopefully. But playing against Rory, you got to bring your A game.
Every day.
You're playing head-to-head ball at that point in that final grouping, on a final day of any tournament. And you've got to be able to beat that band, and then obviously the field if anybody's resurging. So he just didn't come. He didn't come with the goods. It's as simple as that.
No, he didn't. And honestly, when you're in it like that, granted the field had come back, but when you're in it like that, that becomes match play.
Yes, absolutely.
And you got to beat the guy you're playing against. You just have to. And he just could not seem to do it, even when Rory was faltering. He just didn't seem to do the right thing at the right time to take advantage of, to actually put pressure. Because I don't care how great you are. I don't care Tiger Woods and them all.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the records, the Scotty Schefflers, the Woods, they're great front runners.
Yes, absolutely. We were talking about this offline. Yes, they're huge front runners, but they've never seen a comeback win out of these guys.
That's what I'm saying. Put the pressure on them, make them have to chase you. And all of a sudden it's a little different.
Yeah.
But no one seems to do that. Kudos to Rory. Hats off to you for breaking the jinx and then winning 2 in a row. And quite frankly, between Rory and Scheffler, you got some of the Schauffles and you got people like that.
But yeah, these two are sitting above the rest right now in terms of just Sunday killer instinct, as I like to call it. That kind of thing. And
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun watching going in June because you got Shinnecock on the mound for U.S. Open, which is a tough course. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be a hell of a battle across the board. I guess the other takeaway for the Masters was how crappy were the live golfers.
I was just about to say that. As soon as you were finished, I was going to say this is a testament to what live is doing to golf.
Yes.
Because all of these great golfers now suck. How many of them even made the freaking, cut?
Yeah.
DeChambeau did not.
Yeah. DeChambeau and that lab grown shit didn't work.
So it's like, they need to reevaluate that. Hey, you know what? Great. I'm not stopping somebody from becoming billionaires because they're getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Not stopping you from that. But if you really love and respect your craft, you would come back to the PGA Tour because that is where you are able to show how good you are and where you're able.
Yeah.
Not, I don't care if you shoot 80 and you're still going to get paid. You need to actually have to earn the money.
See, I'm going to put a knock on live, very simply put. Like you just said, the purity of sport is to win against the best, in my opinion, anyway. And I think in your opinion, too. That's where you get the greatest satisfaction as a competitor, in my opinion. However, think about it this way. Haotong lost, I believe it was $600,000 on his collapse. I mean, I think that was the drop from him from being, wherever he was going to finish top 4, top 5, down to where he finished at +8. So he lost $600,000 in that range. These live golfers, yeah, I get it. They sold their souls for millions of dollars. Don't get me wrong, millions of dollars. But at what point in time, and I'll make this more of a societal thing, there's an end point to how much money you need to be happy, in my opinion.
Exactly.
And even be generationally wealthy at that point too, right? And I get the chasing of the money. I get the live. I get the whole thing. Hey, I get to live only, play only 3 rounds a week from now on, and I make millions of dollars more.
I don't have to practice.
But guess what? You ain't gonna be remembered worth a shit in the game. John Rahm, I used to respect the hell out of, and
Me too. Me too.
Dude's gone to shit since he went to live. Dustin Johnson gone to shit since he went to live. Brooks Koepka fell apart.
Patrick Reed. Yeah. Patrick Reed. DeChambeau. Yeah. You can name them all.
All these guys are contenders at one point for the crown. Brooksy. Brooksy, until he came back this year, he was never in the top 25. He finished decently strong from what I saw on the Masters. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. And he used to be a guy who every major, especially the hardest major, which could be argued that the U.S. Open is the hardest condition of a major.
Yes, absolutely.
He played his best golf.
Yep. Absolutely.
But he's not doing that anymore. And again, if you're not something goes back to what we were saying. If there's no pressure on you to perform,
you're never
going to perform.
You're never going to shine in the biggest moment. Exactly.
That's it. That's it. Granted, it's a little different than what we were talking about earlier, but it works that way too. It's like the whole point of bringing out the best in yourself is putting yourself in the situations of pressure to see how you perform.
Exactly.
If you're going to sit and you're going to play at live golf and you could shoot 80 and still make $10 million that week, how motivated are you to
as much as your game? As much as golf is a global game, I'm sorry, but 20, 30 years from now, when people are talking about the greatest golfers in the world, they're not talking about the guy that won the Qatar Open and live.
Nope.
They're talking about the guy who closed out the Masters, the guy that opened the British Open, the guy that won the U.S. Open, the guy that won the PGA Tour, the guy that went back to back. You're playing for prestige at the end of the day.
That's it. Look at the what is that? The European Tour.
Yes.
Great golfers there. You have great tournaments, but you don't know any of them until they come to the PGA Tour.
Exactly. So no, I get
the party in at live, but at the end of the day, you said it. Like Mickelson, I don't know, what do you make, 600 million or some stupid number? Yeah, you know what? How much is that really worth to you?
Mickelson's interesting. He's always been a contender, at least when he's doing his PGA. Let me rephrase that. He's made a boatload of money on and off the course. No questions asked.
Oh, yeah.
He's even been on stock insider trading, as we know. And he had to pay debts. But at the end of the day, if he's going to be called himself a golfer, don't go chasing money.
That's it. And Tiger said
any other sport.
When this first happened, that was one of the things I did like that Tiger said was that, there is something to having to make a cut.
Yes.
You know, I think there should be something within the PGA Tour that allows, you know, Joe Schmo, me or you,
Yeah.
who are good enough to be pros, but we're not rich. We didn't have the silver spoon. We didn't come from that background. And, instead of me having to live in my trailer and drive to, 40 tournaments a year just to make a living, I should have something base in there. I
Yep.
get that. It
Yep.
shouldn't be what they're doing with Live Golf, but I get that being a golfer,
Yeah.
the time, the effort.
It happen in a lot of what I would call lower revenue sports, tennis, golf, things that are on the second tier of, football, basketball, that kind of thing, obviously. If that would exist, that would help a lot more to develop and grow the game in every sport, I think.
Yeah.
By all means. I mean, you said, let's say you set a basic par, like 300,000 in golf or whatever that number is.
Whatever that is.
Yeah. You set that up. That covers at least travel expenses for the guy.
Exactly. It won't make them rich, but it'll at least let them be able to not worry about the money part. Don't get me wrong. It shouldn't take away from your competitive edge, but for you to have to, drive, 300 miles to get to the next tournament, and you need to be there by Thursday. You may not have time to practice. You're going to get it all in on Wednesday when you finally get there. That's a lot of a hustle for a sport, an elitist sport like golf.
I'll give you the greatest example that I have firsthand knowledge of. Girls tennis. Grew up playing a girl named Jackie Trail. She won back-to-back U.S. Opens in the juniors growing up. And this is in the era of Capriati, Celis, all those folks that we know at the international level that have won Grand Slams and the whole 9 yards. But Jackie Trail was beating them at 16, 17, and 18. Now, Jackie had to foot her own bill. Her dad came from a middle-class family, working along my side, my dad, traveled every way to pay the bills you could possibly think of to travel at an international level. And because of that, she didn't get the exposure and the experience and everything else that everyone else had funded for them in different fashions to be able to get to that next plateau or that next stage. And she ended up plateauing at one point. Now, to even survive in the top 75 of tennis, you're spending almost $200,000 on your own pocket just to make it to tournaments internationally for even 20 tournaments a year.
See,
and so how many? Because your pocket purse is maybe $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 if you're losing first, second round.
Right.
You can't.
Unless you're winning those tournaments, you're not making any money.
So you got to hang up your rackets. You can't make a living. It's sad to say. Golf, same thing. You get your PGA card. You're not getting minimum pays when you go out to all these, tier 2 tournaments, whatever it is, unless you, do actually make the cut at the U.S. Open or do actually make the cut,
right?
A major tournament. So it's if we could set a price floor in any sport like that, it would help development of the game, not just in this country but anywhere. I think. At the end of the day.
I think you'd have some of the. So again, these are elitist sports.
Yeah.
So everybody with a silver spoon can play.
Yep.
But are they the best at their sport?
Hey,
let's go. Tiger Woods' father took him out. He had access, but if he didn't have access, Tiger Woods wouldn't be Tiger Woods.
Serena Williams is the only exception. Serena and Venus Williams.
Serena and Venus, exactly. Yep. They came from the ghetto, played in the ghetto, and they were just that good that they couldn't be stopped. But there were barriers put in their way.
Their parents put the hustle. Their parents had to hustle harder than anyone on the planet to get them the access and privilege. Think about that for a second.
So I think that there is something to that in those elitist sports that don't allow, and we know that, why are baseball, basketball, and football the most popular in America?
Yeah, exactly.
Because the people who don't have money can afford to get a bat and a ball, or can afford to get a football and some gym shoes, or can afford to get a basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
But they can't afford. I skated. My mom and I played tennis. And my mom didn't have any money. She had to work extra to give me my first Yamaha graphite tennis racket. That was a lot for her to do for me. To get my Super CCM Super Tag skates, that was a lot for her to do. Yep. So guess what? When I didn't follow up in those sports, it felt like wasted money for her.
Yep, absolutely. 100% agree.
She worked hard to get me that opportunity. And again, many of these kids will never get that opportunity. And you just mentioned this one young lady. She was good enough, but if you don't have the financial support, you won't be able to weather the storm to get to the next level.
Yeah, no, that's a fact of the matter. Like I said, and honestly, it's failing development of sports in this country big time across the board. That's the reason we can't contend at the international level in any sport. Rory's from Ireland.
Yeah.
Let's chalk this up with World Cup, basketball, and everything else in between, other than football, even baseball, global game, show high. I mean, where are the American heroes at the at the end of the day?
Well, and look at baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball, we just had the world baseball, whatever championship, whatever it's called. Did America win?
Hell no.
Look at basketball. When we play on the world stage with our professionals, we beat them.
Candidates are not American. Think about that.
Well, that's the thing. So if you put together a team of Americans, the stars of America, we remember when we thought we were so good, so much better than the rest of the world, we sent our college players and they would win. That doesn't happen anymore.
Nope.
The only thing we got is football, because football is not a global sport.
And I chalk it up to one thing and one thing only. We are complacent in this country, and they're hungrier in others.
True that.
And that's why they're better. That's why their development programs are better. Their sports people are more inclined to strive for success and work harder than, frankly, the folks in this country do. Because again, it's become pay for privilege, in my opinion. And that's the biggest problem. You could pay your way to the top to get the marketing, to get the access, to get everything else.
Right.
And people have taken advantage of that for far too long. And then you're seeing.
And I think the almighty system that we have here, the whole capitalistic mindset,
right,
we're not willing to invest.
Absolutely not.
We don't invest in things unless there's a profit. We talk a good game.
Yep.
Here, hold on.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, and frankly, I'll go more fundamental. You named off all those sports where you got to get gear for and have the ability and access and all that stuff. Let's go to something simplistic. Track. We are no longer the stars of speed track, if you think about it in terms of running.
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, the Jamaicans historically obviously have had their thing. So Usain Bolt is Usain Bolt. However, came across my phone yesterday, a kid out of Australia just broke Usain Bolt's 200-meter world record.
What?
His name is Gout.
Did you say Australia? So that means he's white.
Nope, he's white. He's not black. He's black.
Oh, he's black?
He's black.
Okay, that would have shocked me. I'm sorry. Yep. Just saying.
Oh, no, absolutely. 100%. He broke the 200-meter world record of Usain Bolt yesterday.
That is incredible.
Now, again, talking back to global, we've always prided ourselves as supposedly the fastest humans on earth. We had Carl Lewis. We had everybody else. We've had many, many track stars in this country. We ain't them anymore.
No. The world is caught up in many ways, that being athletically, and that's one of them. I do feel like this, though. I'll use my brother as an example. My brother had pro basketball talent in high school. He was that good, played alongside Tom Kleinschmidt. Gordon Tech went to the state final, lost to King because King had grown-ass men playing. Well, Landon King had grown-ass men who were drug dealers who were out on the court playing, and they were all 6'6". How old are you? I'm 17. No, you aren't. You're 25. Shut up. But anyway, once he got a taste of the ink and the popularity and sort of notoriety behind being a great basketball player, he didn't continue to have the same drive that you needed to work and get out there and be on the courts in the ghetto and that kind of stuff. He was out hanging with girls, out doing this. And he never reached his potential. And I feel like American athletes, you mentioned earlier about being hungry. I feel like once they make it, they start walking around like Conor McGregor with that little shoulder hang, how he does his little walk, and they forget how much work you need to put in to be that good.
Go to the fundamentals of it. You get access to media and fame earlier in this country than you do in others.
Yes.
And think about it from a sports perspective. You could have two kids with very similar talent growing up here and growing up elsewhere, Europe, anywhere else, doesn't matter. That kid from Europe's got to work twice as hard to get the endorsement deals, to get the ads, to get the shoe,
Right, to make that side money.
Kid from America is being marketed to in middle school, as far as I could tell you from NIL stuff.
Because big companies are looking to make money off of that athlete.
Yeah, versus in Europe,
capitalism, again, capitalism.
In Europe, you're forced to get good until you're 18, 21, whatever it is, and then get your fame and success. So that endurance and that hard work is longer in terms of development curve than the American kid at the end of the day, which is why you're seeing the success on a global stage for all these sports stars at the end of the day.
I could see that. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's unfortunate because America sort of chews up many of these athletes, and some of them are able to make it through it, and then others, and some of it I don't like.
Yeah,
like Osaka.
Yeah, same. Oh, big time.
I get her dilemma. Trust me, I know what mental health is all about, and I respect that, and definitely support it, even within my family, the people I love. But that is different. Here's the lady. See, this is the pro and the con of being a famous player, tennis player, sporting athlete. In order for you to have that fame and that fortune, you're supposed to make yourself available. But if you say it's too much pressure and they put too much pressure on, then don't play.
And don't play.
Then don't play.
Don't play. Don't ask for the fame and fortune. Don't ask for the success. Simple as that.
Don't. But if you want one, then you're going to have to handle the other. And I don't want to hear you taking the money on the one side and then whining that it's so much pressure. You put so much pressure on me to make the money, and it's affecting my play. No. Stop.
Hey, Jordan, you telling me Jordan didn't have to handle this shit? Think about it. Think about every successful person in the history of time that we've ever known. Didn't have to handle fame, fortune, and glory all at once. And they dealt with that pressure and overcame it, if you think about it.
That's it. And there are a few that are able to do that. And when you're able to do that, then you have to be able to handle the other side of it.
Exactly.
But I feel like there are so many other kids that cannot make it through the gauntlet mentally of, you got to do, 8 things today. You got to go to this photo shoot. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. You got to do that, because you're beholden, or you are responsible and accountable, not because you're a good tennis player, but because you're a good marketing tool.
Exactly. Yep.
And a lot of these kids can't handle that. No. These young people can't handle that. Well, and I don't think it's like that. Like you said, in Europe, I think that they're able to mature before they get to that point to be able to handle it.
They figure out time management. They figure out how to prioritize themselves, everything before they get to that stage. Here, everybody else tries to control you, in my opinion, which is not
right away, because they're trying to make money off you.
Yeah.
And I honestly, that's why I give the Olympic skater, Mikkonen, whatever, all the credit in the world, because it was disgusting how it wasn't about him anymore. It was about his failure. And they didn't care about supporting him. They wanted to stick a mic in his face so they could have the world see him in his worst moment in his life.
Yeah.
And he handled it like a pro. That guy, however old he is, 17, 18, handled it like a 40-year-old PR, VP.
Yep.
Give him all the credit in the world. But I hate what we're doing to the athletes.
Yep.
I hate what some of the athletes are doing to the sport. Going back to live golf, that's ruining the sport of golf, because the best players aren't playing every week in one tournament. I just think that there needs to be something done about overall here in America, especially. Well, how do we view sports? And I feel like we talk out of the side of our neck. We want kids to grow up. We want them to maintain their innocence. We want them to learn. But at the same time, we want to be able to, suck the life out of them if they are good enough, so that we can put them on a Wheaties box when they're 10 years old. And we don't allow them to live and grow and become adults, because we're already expecting them to handle adult situations when they're kids.
Exactly. No, it work ethic and resolve, I feel like, been lost in this country over generations. It doesn't exist like it did in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I think 2000 onward, you've seen a decline in terms of societal development in that realm of being able to overcome the pressures of society, the pressures of any sport and stuff like that, and honestly have that vision of being great, at the end of the day, because everything else around you is like, okay, well, we have to make money. And Okay, the people that were the most successful in those eras I just mentioned made the least amount of money if you think
Of
about
course
it.
they did.
Yeah, and it's a sad truth of it. But you know
Well,
what?
again, those corporate machines
Yeah.
were making all the money off of these people. And if it
Sure.
wasn't for, think about baseball, if Kurt Flood did
Oh
not
yeah.
stand up for all of the baseball players, there would be no free agency. All of the players would stay on the same teams, getting paid paltry sums, while the owners are making billions.
Yep. Absolutely. 100% agree.
You know,
100%.
as much as I don't like some aspects of NIL was necessary because it was the same thing with the college programs where these universities would give you, here's a scholarship, a young black kid from the ghetto who has a fifth grade education, even though he graduated high school.
That's right.
And this scholarship is really going to help you, not us. That's some BS.
We got a fun local case here where a kid got through Baltimore City schools with a 0.13 GPA. And they considered him graduated enough to go into college and play sports and do whatever.
That's it. Again, perfect example.
People for failure in life.
But that's why NIL had to be done.
Yeah. That's just sad.
It is sad, but that's what we're all about. It's about money, 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 money. It's not about trying to find the right situation to support someone, to get the best out of them, for them to be happy, to reach potential, to give back to society. It's not about that. It really isn't. Yeah. And, again, if we didn't have NIL, we just allow the corporations in America, the universities of America, to make billions off of a person's likeness, name, and image, and they can't make a penny off of it. Think about that. Does that even make sense?
Shout out Ed O'Bannon for doing the dirty work, honestly.
Yep.
It was.
I used to get into discussions, and don't get me wrong, I understand both sides of the discussion, but my own personal perspective is, how can you tell me, yeah, well, they get an opportunity to get a college education through the scholarship.
Yeah.
If you can't read, it means nothing. If you have people doing your homework, it means nothing to you, because as soon as you're out of that environment, you have no way to survive in the world.
To me, what was considered, I guess, be the open era of the NCAA. So 1985 onward, the word student athlete got thrown out the door. There's no such thing as student athlete. There's athlete money making.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw the All-American academic team be published?
Right. There were some players like
there used to be an academic All-America team. Like, they'd actually say it, like, "Oh, this team just graduated X amount of players. Hey, this kid just graduated in engineering with a 3.7." That's
right. Right. Usually they're offensive linemen.
Oh,
but I think Robert Smith, who used to be the running back for the Minnesota Vikings, actually stopped playing because he had like the ability to become a doctor.
Yep.
There's
actually a few players out of the NFL that have gone on to do great things like that. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I give them all the credit in the world, those who do that. But again, back to the argument, there's no way that you should be allowed to make the disparity between how much you make and the person who's actually generating the interest for you to make that should not be as great as it's been in America for centuries.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is no question. Now, that said, we have the world upon the playoffs in NBA and NHL upon us. And again, going back to the global game, sad part is the NBA is starting out with a lot of significant injuries.
Yeah.
Games. And it's taking away some of the luster and shine that usually comes up with the NBA playoffs. Because usually this is the only time I watch. I'm going to be very transparent. I don't watch regular season in the NBA. I pay attention in April onward because it's actually fun and exciting and matters.
I'm with you. Honestly, I don't watch every game. I watch some games throughout the year, but I'm sorry, and it's just me. Since Jordan left, there hasn't been a player that exciting that I wanted to watch. Steph Curry aside, I like him, but I just don't get the same joy out of watching. It's not the same entertainment value. But when the playoffs start, that's when things start to heat up. They mean something. You don't see these 30-point swings where the team is up 30 and then they end up losing, which seems to be the theme of every NBA game.
Well, and the same
in the
thing,
regular season.
a similar topic has come up over the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season. And it's at the end of the season, leading into the playoffs, all these injuries, stuff like that. Load management, the key words that have been shared in this generation. And Charles Barkley just said it's a bunch of garbage.
Leave it to Chuck.
Yeah, leave it to Chuck, and he keeps it real. It's exactly what it is. It's garbage. I'm sorry, but you play a sport to want to play the game every single day of your life if you can.
I totally agree.
I
want to be able to go out and play basketball
every day of my life. Yeah.
I want to go out and play basketball, football, tennis, and baseball. This is what I used to do as a kid every day. And I want to do that right now because I love those sports that much. Not because I'm getting paid or I'm going to load manage or I'm worried about tomorrow. I want to play because I enjoy the sport.
And as a professional, you're getting paid to play a game. And some people consider that trivial. Some people consider it a job, apparently, And then they're like, oh, well, there's load management. I want to play for the playoffs, yada, 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 and all this other crap. And now, the NBA tried to put a rule this year. Like, for the folks that want to try to qualify to be an MVP candidate, you must play 65 games.
We've talked about that. What do you think about
that? Luka fell 1 game short this year, whatever that is. And I'm like, look at the body of work.
What is fair there? Like, what do you think about that? Because I've had some conversations, even with my wife, about how fair that is.
Yeah, I understand the demarcation of the game qualifier and all that, but I'm sorry, but if you play 90 to 95% of a season, and yes, it is, 82 games, it's an NBA season, just like in football, you got 18 weeks, all that stuff, and there's going to be injuries. I get that, but as long as it's not load management where you're just sitting just to sit, I don't see why he's not qualified to be the MVP. Because honestly, that was the only reason I even know what the Lakers are this year is Luka Doncic. I could care less, and I could care less about the team. Apparently, they are like maybe a 3-4 seed, maybe in the.
I think they're a 4 seed. Yeah,
where they are. Fine. I'm still picking OKC in the West. But
it's either OKC or Denver, pretty much. Actually, let me change that. I'm going to say OKC or San Antonio.
San Antonio. I'm going with either one of those two in the West. And you know what? I want to see those Detroit Pistons.
Well, Cade's back.
Cade's back. Yep. As long as Cade's healthy and he's contending, I want the Detroit Pistons to make the run just to piss off the rest of the world. I'm tired of seeing. I'm tired of hearing about New York and New York basketball's back. New York basketball's back in June for 1 week. And then it's gone again. Nobody remembers it. It's when you lose in the playoffs, Knicks.
Historically, it's hard for me to root for Detroit because I'm from Chicago. And
guy.
I hated Isaiah Thomas and the Bad Boys and all of that. But at the same time, I sort of agree with you. I'd like to see somebody thumb their nose to, the Celtics now, they got, Tatum back and they're the favorites. Oh, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now that they got Harden, they're going to be
back. He's going to win a title. I'm like, if James Harden's winning the title, I'm quitting watching basketball. Seriously.
Yeah, and there you go. That's the truth right there. And honestly, I'm not sure Mitchell's going to ever win one either. I remember when he was on Utah and they thought
he tries hard. He's a great player, but I don't think he's going to win one now.
Nope, I don't think any of those guys win. I would rather see a Detroit, Cunningham, Cade. Did he come out of high school?
He played a year at Oklahoma State.
Okay.
And then he came up. But I mean, think about it. That's truly a rags to riches situation with the Pistons. I mean, obviously they had been washed out for a number of years, never had talent, anything of that, never contended way back since the days of Rip Hamilton when they had that, Chauncey and everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And they went dead for about almost a decade. They're back. They've retooled with nothing but a young core, just like OKC did. They basically took the playbook there and ran with it. That's why I'd love to see 2 young cores, whether it's San Antonio or OKC, play against a young core like Detroit. I think it'd be great for basketball.
Yeah, and honestly, I like what you said about and agree with the whole idea. Like, these GMs should get awards.
Yes,
because OKC is stacked and ready to be literally
next 10 years. Yeah.
And I think they did that when they did it in Denver.
Absolutely.
And they're doing it in Detroit. And they did it in Boston. They had to get rid of Kyrie, but the team that you're seeing now, you Tatum and Brown and those guys were playing with Kyrie at one point, right?
Yep.
Or right after that. So I think that is the model, and other teams should try to emulate that, to come up with a plan of action. Let's draft well. Let's nurture these players. Let's get these 2 or 3 years on their rookie contract, figure out where we are. And then if we need to, we're going to sign them to big money. But At least you keep the core together so you can be good for a long time.
I'll give you more food for thought based on recent topics. This whole concept of tanking and all this other garbage in the NBA, right? Think about it. I don't think I saw ever see an OKC tank. If you think about it, they've always tried to contend, create a contender, whatever, but they've done it the right way by trading, getting pieces, building up their first round picks, all that stuff. San Antonio, same thing. They've always brought up a core of players together and kind of thing and worked the system. Detroit, they never tanked. They just, they sucked.
It was just bad.
It was bad, but then they learned how to retool and bring it up. Versus you've got like the New Orleans of the world, the Memphises, and all these other things that tank.
and they always stay bad.
They always stay bad.
Remember New Orleans when they had the unibrow?
Oh yeah.
And then they traded him away. They got Zion.
Yep.
And they actually had the guy who's leading Toronto on their team too.
Yep.
And they just never seem to amount to anything. The Memphis Grizzlies, sorry Memphis, you put your eggs into the what's his name basket.
You said to go gun crazy, so it is what it is.
Well, they took him down. I'm surprised they didn't try to trade him for nothing, just to get rid of him so they can start over again.
Yep.
But some franchises seem to always start over and never get going. New York was like that for a while.
Yeah,
after the Ewing years.
Absolutely.
It's like, what happened to you guys?
Yep, absolutely. The Knicks, I mean, think about it. Now, and I think it's going to be a lingering topic probably during the playoffs, and I don't really care to go into it, but the Knicks could have tried to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, right? Or whatever it was.
Why?
Well, they think they needed one more piece. Right? That's the whole argument. And frankly, they do need more. They need another presence probably because Karl Anthony Towns ain't Karl Anthony Towns. Let's face facts. You
You got a point. He's good sometimes. He's bad sometimes. He's not that guy.
Brunson's great. The entire, Villanova Wildcat crew, if you will, is all, they brought over the entire city of Philadelphia to raise New York, which is kind of funny, but and it worked. It's worked.
It did work. They got rid of what is his name, DiVincenzo or whatever.
They still got the other core there with Josh Hart and everybody else. But yeah, New York still needs another piece to contend with the big boys in the East, as far as I could tell. So could they have made Giannis happy? Whatever. Milwaukee's another team where you got rid of a coach that won you a title. You pissed off the organization. You pissed off your key player, Giannis.
Yeah, why did they get rid of Mark Malone or whatever? No, it's not Mark Malone. That was Denver.
They got rid of Malone was it Malone or whatever? No,
Buden.
Yeah. Won him a title with less, in my opinion. He had Middleton. He had the crew. He had a good nucleus. But Milwaukee's a small market team. They can't afford to keep the success. I get all that and all the dynamics, but that's where your GM needs to wheel and deal. But instead, they decided to blow everything up, go get a washed-up Dame Lillard. They piss off their coach. They get Doc Rivers, who's a failure at every stage.
Doc Rivers hasn't won a thing.
Yeah, and there's a reason you fired him. I mean, come on.
Yeah, what makes him a great coach? I don't know why people even keep resurrecting him. He should be in the cemetery of coaches.
He got a title because he had three of the best freaking players on the planet on his team.
Yeah, you're talking about the big three when he was in Boston, right?
Exactly.
I could have won with Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and those guys. And
y'all three just take the court. We're good. Yeah.
Yeah. I just sit on the sidelines. I don't have to coach. You guys coach yourself.
Straight up. So, I mean, I don't know. Like you said, some organizations are built to fail because they continue to fail over and over. It's just sad to say. They haven't figured out how to get out of their rut. The New York Jets in football, case in point.
Perfect example. New York Jets in football, the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the old New Orleans Saints. Yep. They just couldn't get out of their own way.
Yep. So, like I said, it'll be fun to watch the NBA playoffs as they take off. I haven't looked at the exact brackets yet. I know they got play-in games and stuff coming up this weekend probably. But I think I picked my favorites. I'd love to see Detroit make a run from the East if it's possible. I know Boston's the lurking 2 seed that's on the up and up. So now that Tatum's back, but I'd like to see a new refreshing face in the East. The West, I love that rivalry that's building between OKC and San Antonio. I think it's awesome for the game.
I feel like the West has been really one team, Denver. But now you get 2 more with OKC and with San Antonio. And honestly, I think that's great. Forget the Durant and all of that stuff. Sorry, you're never going to win anything either. You had to go get yours from a team that beat you in order to win the championship.
Exactly.
The East, it's funny. The East has always been the East.
Yeah.
Rough and tumble.
Rough.
But I always feel like the West is like just historically.
Yeah.
Take the old Bulls and take the old Detroit Pistons out, how many times are the East and the Boston Celtics? How many times are the East actually winning championship if it's not those three teams?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
There's no Indiana Pacers. We're not talking about the New York Knicks. We're not talking about the Atlanta Hawks or the Miami Heat, shackless Miami Heat. You're not getting anything out of that. Even when the Heat had the three of like the top 10 best players, they won 2, 6. You went to 6 in a row and you won 2.
Exactly.
That's that's almost Buffalo Bills like.
That's failure, is what it is. That's absolute.
Yes,
that's failure.
It is. It really is.
I mean, all the credit in the world to Pat Riley and everything. They got a good culture down there, from what I hear, and it's a good thing with Polstra. All the credit in the world to it. They milked the big three for what it was worth, and it wasn't even big three. I've never considered Bosch to be a big three, but whatever.
That's funny you say that, even though he was considered one of the top 10, 20 players. Yeah. I agree with you. When he was in Toronto, he was okay. He wasn't great. He more looked like an alien that could play basketball, like he was in Space Jam 2 or something.
Exactly what he was. He was that tall, lanky dude in Space Jam.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Who are you picking to win it? You'd say OKC?
I think that whoever comes out of the West.
Yeah, I think it's going to be OKC or San Antonio out of the West. I think it's going to be Boston or Detroit out of the East.
I would love to see a dark horse run out of the Nuggets, but I don't know if they're going to have enough firepower to keep up with the Thunder, because Thunder play 10 deep, which is just crazy.
Yeah, they're good.
And San Antonio's had their number, which is interesting. San Antonio's had
yes. Over the regular season, San Antonio has just beat down Oklahoma City. They're the only team to really do that.
I'm going to love watching that matchup. You got Wemby, aka the alien.
That's the true alien there.
Yeah.
The freak of nature. I hope they win.
Yeah.
I hope they get their young guys together. They get Castle was from Connecticut, right?
Yep. Yeah, Castle. Got so many guys. Yeah, like you said, culture. San Antonio been a culture since day one, since the days of David Robinson.
Pops.
Yeah.
Pops. So now let's pivot on that and let's move to the other playoff sport that we have going on, hockey.
Yep.
I can't say that I've been following hockey. I used to know every player. I used to be about I played. But I just want to see Connor David do something. I want to see Edmonton has been at the door 2 years in a row, and 2 years in a row they lost to Florida.
Yes.
It'd be nice to see.
A change.
Yeah, the Kachuk and his kids.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see him win, just because I was a big fan of the old Edmonton Oilers with the Grant Fuhrers and every Hall of Fame player that was on there, Yari Curry, everybody else. I'd like to see them win. I'd like to see them be able to do something. I'm just not sure they can.
Yeah. So one thing that's building right now, they still got the rest of the regular season still going on this week. So the playoff bracket is yet to be determined. However, if I think the Flyers drop a couple points in the standings, then I think vice versa. I think if Pittsburgh drops a couple points in the standings, Washington gets in, which is kind of interesting. And if Washington gets in somehow, then you'll set up a first-round matchup with the Pittsburgh Penguins against the Capitals, and you'll get.
And they just played.
Yeah, and they just played. And it was a big deal because you've got two of the most historic names in hockey.
You got Crosby and Ovechkin.
And they did at one point during that game, I didn't get to watch it. They brought the two of them and did the initial face-off, which I thought was a cool little,
I think it is cool too.
Two of the greats. I think we get to see a rematch in the playoffs, which would be pretty badass to watch if that happens. But again, it depends on what happens this week in terms of the point standings.
Well, and this could be it for Ovi. They were saying that potentially could have been Ovi's last.
They interviewed Ovi after the game. He's still kind of washing it off, like, it's not my last ride. I don't know yet. Yada yada yada. I'm like, dude, you're at that point where it's either the farewell tour this week or not. That kind of thing.
When you're that good for that long and you hold all of these records, do you want to play on a team that's not even going to make the playoffs?
That's a thing. Yeah, while in their fringe, they got to hope for some luck, I think, this week to get in, unfortunately. So, is it worth spending another season losing the last three teeth you have, in your mouth?
And he represents hockey.
Oh, hell yes. There's guys like him and the old player Jaromir Jagr, who I believe still playing somewhere in Russia, from what I understand it.
I heard that he might have been still playing somewhere. Yeah. Which that guy, how old is he now? Like 50?
He's 56 last I saw. And I'm like, holy shit.
Well, that's right, because he was in the NHL just a couple years ago,
Yeah,
still
yeah.
playing at a really old age.
Yep. But no, I mean, and see, that's the epitome of someone who plays for the game. That's it, at the end of the day. These are the guys you remember.
Okay, I'm okay with that. And, you know, Gordie Howe and some other players played a long time. But I'm sorry. If you're still playing now, either you really, really, really need the money because you did some poor investing, or you're out of your freaking mind because you're too old now to be playing this sport.
It's true.
And you're not playing it at the highest level.
Hockey is not an old man
backyard, play with your kids, your grandkids. Do that.
Hockey is not an old man sport. You got to have your hips.
No. So I get it, you know, not wanting to give up. I get that. Yeah. But at some point, you have to let go. Yes. 50s is not an age bracket for professional sports. It's not. It's not even an age bracket for most sports, unless you're playing pickleball or something. Maybe
golf at best, but no, nothing else.
Well, golf on the seniors tour, but they don't have senior hockey, senior NBA. They don't have any of that because there's a reason for it, because nobody wants to see it.
I say this in the nicest way possible, but unless it's the wheelchair league, no, it does not exist.
So give Jaromir all the credit. You may have a love for the sport or a need to play the sport, but either way, come on, man.
Now, when it comes to hockey playoffs, I would love to see the young stars get their shine this round. I think with Connor McDavid's of the world and everybody else that's making their name for themselves. Let the Edmonton Oilers, finally get a title, hopefully somewhere in this. First, think about this: the United States, meaning the teams that are in the United States, have dominated the NHL championship landscape. There's not been a title in Canada for quite some time, if you think about it.
This is true. This is very true. The Canadians, the Maple Leafs, the Winnipeg, none of those teams are getting there. Edmonton's gotten there, but they got to the door and they dropped the key, and before they knew it, the door was shut forever.
They've got the star power. They've got the star power up there.
Yeah, they do.
So it'll be interesting to see how the playoffs shake out for the NHL. Like I said, the brackets will drop after this week, after they finished up everything, but I'm eager to watch playoff hockey only because honestly, I think it's one of the coolest sports, even if you're not the biggest hockey fan, to go out to a summer scene, particularly in Chicago, shout out, even if the Blackhawks aren't in. It's awesome to watch playoff hockey because of the pace of play and the action that you just see floor to floor, every side.
And for those who haven't watched hockey, I mean, I think it's a little less now because of the rules, but hockey is just as physical as football.
It's brutal.
Those hits and how fast they're going. Oh, man. It's
teeth either. The man is missing like everything but maybe 3 teeth these days. He's got the ears.
They got a commercial out. I saw it the other day where there's this brother, this white guy. They're talking. They're skaters, hockey players, and they're talking. And the both of them are like missing all their teeth here. And they're like, yeah. So I heard that they got this dentist that come on down the street, and we could probably go down there, and I think they can help us out.
That is awesome.
Honestly, one of the better commercials out there because one, got the product right away. Two, it was actually funny and not just stupid. And three, you know what? I could get you trying to sell to a hockey player a dental work. Like, it all made sense.
I'm making an adjacent aside. TV commercials have gone down the tube because frankly, people have lost focus of the marketing of the actual product that you're actually trying to sell. I hear all this other shit, and then even my kids are like, what is that commercial about? And I'm like,
exactly.
You're never going to remember it. That means it was a failure. Simple.
Exactly. I don't get that. And the Super Bowl commercials are like the worst now.
Yeah.
It's like, what are they selling?
Yeah.
There's all of this stuff. It's like Magnificent, all these things. The polar bear, this, that. Yeah. All right. We're selling
Geico insurance. Yeah. yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What?
Exactly.
Oh,
hockey, they hit the nail on the head with that commercial. There's no question.
That commercial got me. I was like, this is hilarious. Got it right away. All made sense. Totally hilarious. You know what's funny? So I don't think that the Panthers will be winning this year, but the Carolina Hurricanes are leading the they're looking pretty good and by a wide margin. And you also have The old Buffalo Sabres. When was the last time the Buffalo Sabres were good enough to make you think, what was that, when Pat LaFontaine was playing for them?
Exactly. I'm seeing, top 4 seeds right now. You got Buffalo, Colorado, Las Vegas again, and then Carolina. And it's stunning to see that Vegas, startup team essentially has been a title contender ever since their inception.
So I love that. I love that for the simple fact that these were castaways.
Oh yeah,
every one of them were castaways. They got the goalie from Pittsburgh, and then all of a sudden they just were killing them.
Yep.
And in a castaway team got to the championship before some of these well-known teams, and more frequently than some of the original 8 teams.
How weird is it that between Vegas, Carolina, and Florida, that's your last subset of like championship NHL teams, all in the South?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and warm weather. And
does that make sense?
We're in a weird situation now in this sport, but hey, you know what? We might be giving a little jab to the nation of Canada up there. Be like, I thought this was y'all thing.
Right, Canada, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Where are you?
Too busy eating that maple syrup.
That's right. It's no Canada.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good one. Straight up. Now, on the note of expansion team, last night was a WNBA draft. 5 players from the national championship UCLA squad going in the first round. Pretty cool to watch.
It's cool to watch.
Yeah.
But boy, what is their program going to be next year?
Yeah. That's the sad truth about college basketball for women as the teams, at least. You got the greats coming through different programs. You got the Iowas, Connecticut's, all that stuff. But every year it's burn and churn. It's a full flush of the system, unfortunately. South Carolina too, everybody. It's unfortunate that we don't have deeper wells of pockets in women's basketball, but I mean the powerhouses just continue to be the powerhouses, which is fine. But you got to retool every year to become championship contenders again.
Yeah, but you know what? The retooling is for all of the other teams, the powerhouses, the Texas, the UCLA. Although UCLA isn't a powerhouse in my mind.
Yeah.
But Connecticut, South Carolina, they've been good every year. They get all of the potential NBA players. I feel like the women's game is sort of like the men's game in college in that way, that Duke always gets the best, the premier All-Americans from high school, just like Kentucky and Kansas and a few other teams. It's the same in women's sports. They go to those particular programs. Those programs continue to be elite, and most of the other teams fade away. You get a weird coincidence like a Caitlin Clark at Iowa. But outside of that, you don't see that. Even the girl on Dallas, Beckers, she went to UConn.
Now, I'm going to throw a different conspiracy theory out there. We obviously had the Luka Doncic trade from Dallas over to LA and all that nonsense.
Hey, I hate to stop you, but if Texas all of a sudden legalizes gambling, I'm going to call foul, because there's a conspiracy theory behind that whole trade to LA and all that stuff.
Yeah, Sands family, whole 9 yards. I mean, that exists too, and we can get deeper into that too. But think about this: Luka gets traded away. They lose their key centerpiece in Dallas in Dallas in basketball. So what do? Oh, they get the number 1 pick magically in the next draft, and they get Cooper Flag. Oh, how did that happen? I have no idea. WNBA, Dallas gets a team. Oh, what did they get? They got the number 1 pick. Oh, it's Paige Beckers. Holy crap. Oh, wait, they got the number 1 pick again this year. Oh, they got Ozzie Fudd. What the hell?
Just makes you wonder.
Absolutely.
Like, I want to see, like, somebody needs to film all of these balls from the moment they get the number on them to the moment that they're picked, because it just makes you wonder, just like the Lakers getting the first pick and getting Magic Johnson back in '79, that kind of stuff. Makes you wonder.
To me, the NBA has a problem right now with image, not just from all the stuff that's happened that we just mentioned, but just the fact of the matter is they don't have the allure anymore at the end of the day. I'd say the mid-'90s, that was probably their peak at this point. Maybe even the early 2000s with Shaq and Kobe and all that, and the Iverson and the whole era. But after that, marketing has gone down. Everything has gone to shit. The credibility of the league has been lost, in my opinion.
Well, if you could take 5 steps to get to the hole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The game has changed so much that it's such garbage. You let James Harden take 55 steps to take a 3. Oh, it counts. He can be the MVP. Okay, great. Yeah, we're gonna let Westbrook shoot 55 foul shots a game, just to amp his scores up and make him a triple double king or whatever. No, I'm sorry, Oscar Robertson did it better.
Yeah, that's true. People forget about the old guys like the Big O.
Yeah, the purity
Well,
of the game has been lost.
well, I think one of the things, and I'm not sure if it's real or not, but I'm going to mention this, and I give my wife a lot of credit. One of the things that she says has, in her opinion, been ruining basketball, college and pro, is that everybody's enamored with the three-pointer.
Of course,
Steph Curry has changed the sport forever.
Yep.
God, I can't think of the word for it, but the micro mathematics around all of the stats associated with threes versus twos, percentages, points, etc., sort of back that up. Now everybody's looking to be three-point shooters. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's great, but because I'm an old school guy, I could appreciate a good center, a good power forward. Guys,
the Wemby's and the Jokic's and stuff like that. These guys are post players. It's great to watch. Absolutely. Now, I mean, I'll put it aside too. Look at Con Kneppel. This guy's like 6'6", 6'7", but he's sitting there sinking threes
sinking threes like he was a point guard or he was a shooting guard. Yeah.
And honestly, it's great to watch too.
Don't get me wrong. I appreciate all aspects because that's a skill too, to be able to, be 30 feet from the basket and people are afraid of you. Only person who did that when I was growing up was Larry Bird, and then there was Ray Allen, a little Del Curry in there. But now you got some sharpshooters where you literally have to spread the floor because you can't let a Steph Curry shoot from 30 feet because he's going to make 50% or 60% of those.
When I was a kid playing NBA Jam as a kid, Miami Heat, Ronnie Cycli, and Glenn Rice.
Remember that? Ronnie
Cycli and Glenn Rice all day long. Boom, boom.
He's on fire. He's on fire.
That was the greatest thing to watch, but like again, the 3-point, admiration, if you will, at that point in time. And it was a skill set along with the same guys you just mentioned. But that I get the statistics of the three.
Is it helping the game or is it hurting the game? I'll ask you that.
It's hurting the game because the skill of the inside jumper has been lost, for one.
Yes, the 10-foot jumper, you see these guys bricking it all the time. It's like, wow.
Yeah, you don't see the guys that are pure shooters that are able to do that dribble, drive, shoot, that kind of thing.
Pull up.
The dunk has been lost, in my opinion, because hell, look at the dunk contest. It's garbage now. You don't even get the creativity. Now, in-game, different story. I get it. We got bigger centers, bigger physicality. But what happened to the art of rebounding, a Dennis Rodman or something like that? Whatever happened to the fact that you could posterize a guy,
I feel like you still see that in the games. There are a lot of dunks that are happening that are still spectacular. I do agree that the marquee, in my opinion, what used to be the marquee event of the All-Star Weekend, which the All-Star Weekend sucks now.
Yeah, it's gone.
But the dunk contest goes back to sort of what you were talking about with load management.
Yeah.
There are no stars in the dunk contest.
They're chicken.
Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins were the dunk masters of the day, and they loved going to the dunk contest. Now, who goes to the dunk contest? Guys you don't even know who are on the bench. One guy's not even in the league anymore. He's playing in the D League, and they want him to come back because he's the defending champion.
When you're one of the biggest stars on the NBA stage in terms of playability, and you don't have the huevos to put your reputation on the line in the dunk contest to lose to a guy like Matt McClung, that means you suck.
And it's sad because that guy can't even get an NBA contract, I hear.
He's scary.
And he's the dunk champion. But again, it also shows you that there's more to the game than just dunking.
I mean, modern era, I can only name off 3 dunkers I respect other than the old era that we know and love. Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon, and this Matt McClung guy. And those are the 3 guys I can remember from 2000 onward, other than VC, of course.
Yeah, VC, he's in a stratosphere of his own. But yeah, you're right. I can't think of any other memorable dunking. And I'm sorry, even when what's his name, Blake Griffin was jumping over cars and stuff.
All 3 of those dudes jumped over cars.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a lost art. It's no longer a marquee event. And honestly, we've talked about this before. They might as well get rid of. I used to love watching the All-Star games.
Yeah.
I used to love watching the football Pro Bowl. I used to watch baseball All-Star game and the home run. I don't even like any of them anymore. It's so overdone from a publicity standpoint, and it's not. It doesn't live up to the bill.
Here's my proposal for the NBA All-Star game. Screw teams, screw all that. 3-on-3 tournament. You go pick your buddies. We have a 16-team tournament over 3 days. 10-minute format, half court, just like a pickup game in street. And forget the 16 teams coming all from the NBA. 8 teams from the NBA, 8 teams from world qualifiers.
I remember you mentioned that before.
Off the street, let them go against the pros. Let's see what happens on a real street ball fight.
I say make it like 3-on-3 and let Ice Cube run it.
Yeah, like Ice Cube. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let Ice Cube run it. Yeah, no question.
I'd be okay with that.
Yep. I think that would be pure entertainment because then you have the underdog story, right? That you love. You want to see the guy from street ball freaking take out, everybody.
Yeah, I like the Joe to take out. I like the Joe to take out.
Imagine a team coming from the Rucker.
Now that could be something.
It's outside Chicago.
that could be something.
That would be cool to watch. Or for like Middle Estonia or some shit.
Hey, you know what? There was one other thing I just wanted to talk about real quick, but I do need to go. We got the French Open coming up. Sinner is winning tournaments, but Alcaraz is the clay king.
Yep.
But I just had to talk about Medvedev getting bageled and breaking his racket to the point like it was on Sports Center. Like, we got to show this.
Priceless. It's priceless. For someone of a professional tenure and arguably a top 10 player to ever get bageled in the pro circuit by anyone, I don't care who you are, it is phenomenally bad. And to have the reaction that he had is just so classless and funny. I mean, look at, I'll even go backwards. Sergio Garcia apparently snapped his clubs at the Masters this year too.
And you never see that. Now, of all the tournaments that you could play, the Masters is one of those like holy ground, be on your best behavior. Like if you bring your kid, you make sure that your kid is going to be on their best behavior.
Exactly.
And he went like Walmart out there.
Yeah, he went.
Yeah. What going on, Sergio? He didn't hit it once. He hit it like 2-3 times.
Yeah, no. To see the level of frustration in these two athletes, particularly Medvedev. Medvedev was just amazing to watch. I mean, like, this is the straight McEnroe level stuff.
It just, I get it. When you're a competitor and you're not playing up to your standard, it hurts. But boy, to see them just lose it like that, it sort of brings a little joy because I remember I've thrown some clubs in my day. I've hit some rackets against the gates at the tennis court because I was just so disgusted with myself.
Yep.
But they just went off, and Sergio got a warning or something from. I don't think I've ever even heard of that before. I've
never heard of it in golf, but I imagine it's a Masters thing too, obviously.
Yeah. Like, Sergio, you can't come back now because you hit the thing on, like it's not that, but I'm just saying.
Masters also. So obviously strict rules on the grounds, no phones, all that stuff. Mark Calcavecchia, former champion of a major.
Remember him? He was a good golfer.
Yeah. Gets kicked off the grounds for having a cell phone.
Wait, he was able to do it?
No, so he snuck a phone somehow onto the grounds. Don't know how it got there.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. My neighbors went. They said they don't allow you to take phones. Yeah.
Day one, he's out there. He's caught using the phone. He gets kicked off. He's kicked out of the grounds.
Is it forever?
Nah, it's probably just, this year, I would hope. But
Hey, you know what? Kudos to the Masters. Kudos to your tournament.
There's sanctity in that hallowed space. I mean, it's like at Wimbledon. You don't see the roaring crowds like you do at the U.S. Open in tennis.
Right.
You know, there's a decorum, there's a formality. You're dressed to the nines, all that good stuff. Like there's something to that panache and flair, obviously. Like the sacred grounds at the British Open when you go to the courses, and there's something to it.
Well, and the fact that they caught him and they kicked him out, even though he's who he is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
That I'm clapping for and championing.
Yes.
Because I think that no one should be above
reproach. No one's above anything reproach. Exactly. The rule is a rule, and it is what it is. So,
a little different. Like the difference. You go to the Doral Open.
Yes.
Where on the 15th, 16th hole, everybody's going crazy. People throwing beer and acting a fool.
Phoenix, that's a freaking spring break scene down there.
Yeah. So and that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's not what's supposed to happen at a major tournament, but specifically Magnolia Lane and what they have down there in Georgia, in Augusta, Georgia.
Yes, as Shooter McGavin said it best, go back to your shanties, you people. No,
Wait, what's that from?
This from first Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
That, by the way, that guy, great Twitter follow. The guy that played the role of Shooter McGavin. He's hilarious.
Oh,
yeah, he's still to this day, he makes golf puns and everything else about his character. To this day, it's great.
I love it. Well, he took something and he was able to make a living off of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, there's pageantry to Augusta. I think it was 1997. They didn't allow John Daly in. So what does he do? He goes and buys the Hooters that leads into the main road of Augusta. He racks in, and this was statted out this week. He racks in over $2 million in memorabilia sales the week of the Masters all the time, just from memorabilia sales at the Hooters. And the line at the Hooters is a 2-hour wait time. This guy's milking it off his restaurant over there. Now, granted, the Augusta gift shop at the Masters rakes in $80 million in 7 days.
We talked about that. But hey, John Daly thumbed his nose up to him and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to make money off you since you're going to treat me like this. Go ahead, John Daly. Always liked you.
I always loved John Daly. I can't wait to see. So his son's working his way onto the tour.
Yeah, I saw that.
Love the second coming of John Daly Jr. John Daly Jr. and Charlie Woods. If you can bring that to me in 10 years, I will.
Now that would actually be worth watching.
It'd be the greatest stuff on earth.
I agree.
So no, we got fun sports ahead. Like I said, we got playoff hockey, we got playoff basketball imminent. The golf season just begun. The Masters is in, U.S. Open, PGA tournament, everything else is coming into play. So keep an eye on golf. World Cup's out there. We'll get to it. I'm fortunate enough to be able to attend one of the games here coming up. And
yeah, it sucks. It's not in Chicago. Can't believe that.
It's not in Chicago. It's not in D.C. How does that happen? It's one of the biggest cities in the country, and it's a international event.
Yeah, we're talking about going to another city to see it for Karen's birthday, but yeah.
Got some ideas for it. We'll talk offline. But needless to say, we've got a lot of global sports coming into play. Keep an eye on it. And again, like we've always said here, stay human, stay true, be nice to your fellow man, but enjoy sports.
That's right. Enjoy sports, enjoy it in the company of others. Yeah. Meet somebody who doesn't look like you. You might make a new friend, and you could help change the world if we all took that attitude. And one thing I wanted to say, I was going to slip it in here, but I didn't get a chance to. We're talking about how big business is sort of eating up sports.
Yeah.
And there was a line that I could have interjected in, but we do this for free because we love sports, and we want to be able to share a little joy and bring a little thought to every one of our viewers. So just note that we do this because we love sports and we love sharing the joy of sports with others.
We're the kind of guys that you'd find at a local bar talking sports, honestly. That's as simple as that. We're simplistic humans just like everyone else in the 99% that's out there at the end of the day. So to that point, enjoy the camaraderie, give us feedback. We enjoy the camaraderie. We enjoy the discussion. It's always fun. And my partner and I, we love it. We love talking sports all day long. We can talk about anything.
Yep. Too bad we can't get paid for it, but I would do it. I still do it.
Exactly. On that note, we will be back next week for free.
For free. Listen to the Drake song. I can't say what he says in that song, but for free.
Yeah, exactly. Peace out, all.
All right.